John Haigh was born in Stamford, Lincolnshire, and spent his formative years in the village of Outwood, located in the West Riding of Yorkshire. His parents were John Robert Haigh and Emily. During his childhood, Haigh claimed to have experienced recurring religious nightmares. He displayed remarkable talent in playing the piano, a skill he acquired within the confines of his home. His love for classical music led him to frequently attend concerts. Hay's academic journey led him to earn a scholarship to Queen Elizabeth Grammar School in Wakefield, subsequently becoming a choir boy at Wakefield Cathedral. Upon completing his school education, he embarked on an apprenticeship with a motor engineering firm. However, within a year, he left this position and ventured into roles in the insurance and advertising industries. At the age of 21, he found himself dismissed from his job under suspicion of theft from a cash box. This setback prompted him to enter the world of forging car documents. On the 6th of July, 1934, John Haigh entered into marriage with 23-year-old Beatrice Betty Hammer. However, their union quickly deteriorated, and within the same year that Haigh was incarcerated for fraud, Betty gave birth to their child while he was behind bars. In an unfortunate turn of events, she decided to put their baby girl up for adoption and depart from Hay's life. His traditionally minded family distanced themselves from him from that point onward. Haigh relocated to London in 1936, where he secured a position as a chauffeur for William McSwan, a prosperous owner of amusement arcades, while also maintaining McSwan's gaming machines. During this time, Haigh assumed a false identity as a solicitor named William Cato Adamson, claiming to have offices in Chancery Lane, London, Guildford, Surrey, and Hastings, Sussex. Under this guise, he peddled counterfeit stock shares, purportedly derived from the estates of his deceased clients, offering them at a price below market value. His fraudulent scheme unraveled when an astute observer noticed a spelling error on his letterhead, where Guildford had been incorrectly spelled. Hay's deceit was exposed, leading to a 4-year prison sentence for his involvement in fraud. Haigh regained his freedom shortly after the commencement of World War II, but rather than turning away from his life of deception, he persisted as a fraudster, subsequently serving multiple prison terms. Haunted by the notion that he had allowed potential accusers to live, Haigh developed a morbid fascination with the French murderer George Alexander Sauret, who had used sulfuric acid to dispose of bodies. Haigh embarked on gruesome experiments using field mice, discovering that it took a mere 30 minutes for a body to dissolve in the corrosive acid. In 1943, Hay's prison sentence concluded, and he began working as an accountant for an engineering firm. Fate brought him into a Kensington pub where he unexpectedly crossed paths with his former employer, William McSwan. McSwan introduced Haigh to his parents, Donald and Amy. William was engaged in collecting rents on their London properties, and Haigh couldn't help but envy the lifestyle his former colleague enjoyed. On the 6th of September, 1944, William McSwan mysteriously vanished. Haigh later confessed that he had enticed McSwan into the basement on Gloucester Road, where he struck him on the head with a lead pipe and subsequently placed his lifeless body into a 40 imperial-gallon drum filled with concentrated sulfuric acid. After 2 days had passed, and most of McSwan's remains had dissolved, Haigh emptied the drum into a nearby manhole. To allay suspicion, Haigh informed McSwan's parents that their son had gone into hiding in Scotland to evade military service. Subsequently, he assumed residence in McSwan's home, continuing to collect rent on behalf of McSwan's parents. As the war neared to its conclusion, the McSwans grew increasingly concerned about their son's prolonged absence. On the 2nd of July, 1945, Haigh lured them to Gloucester Road by informing them of their son's surprise visit from Scotland. There, he brutally murdered them with blows to the head and disposed of their bodies. Haigh also pilfered McSwan's pension checks and liquidated his parents' properties, generating around £8,000 in proceeds, which he used to secure lodgings at the Onslow Court Hotel in Kensington. Haunted by financial woes due to his gambling habits, by 1947, Haigh hatched a sinister plan to rob and kill another couple, Archibald Henderson and his wife Rose. Under the pretense of showing interest in a house they were selling, he gained an invitation into the Hendersons' flat, where he entertained their housewarming guests by playing the piano. During his visit, Haigh swiped Archibald Henderson's revolver, intending to use it in his next criminal endeavor. Renting a small workshop at 2 Leopold Road in Crawley, West Sussex, Haigh transferred acid and drums from Gloucester Road. He had also frequented Crawley's hotel, the George, on several occasions. On the 12th of February, 1948, he enticed Archibald Henderson to his workshop by falsely claiming to show him an invention, only to fatally shoot him in the head with the stolen revolver upon arrival. Subsequently, he lured Rose Henderson to the workshop by feigning her husband's illness, only to murder her as well. After disposing of the Hendersons' remains in oil drums filled with acid, Haigh went on to forge a letter using their signatures and liquidated all their possessions except for their car and dog, which he retained. John Hay's final and ultimate victim was Olive Duran Deacon, a 69-year-old wealthy widow married to solicitor John Duran Deacon, who also resided at the Onslow Court Hotel. At this point, Haigh had adopted the persona of an engineer. During their interactions, Olive mentioned an idea she had for artificial fingernails to Haigh. Seizing an opportunity, Haigh invited her to his Leopold Road workshop on the 18th of February, 1949. Once inside, he cruelly shot her in the back of the neck using a .38 caliber Webley revolver he had stolen from Archibald Henderson. Following the murder, he stripped Olive of her valuable belongings, including a Persian lamb coat, and disposed of her lifeless body in an acid bath. It didn't take long for her friend Constance Lane to report her disappearance, triggering a chain of events that would unravel Hay's gruesome deeds. Detectives swiftly uncovered Hay's history of theft and fraud and subsequently conducted a search of his workshop. Among the incriminating evidence discovered was Hay's attaché case, which contained a dry cleaner's receipt for Olive Duran Deacon's coat, as well as documents referring to the Hendersons and the McSwans. Interestingly, the Sussex workshop rented by Haigh lacked a floor drain, unlike the one he had previously leased on Gloucester Road in London. As a result, Haigh disposed of the remains by pouring them into a rubble pile at the rear of the property. A thorough examination of the area by pathologist Keith Simpson unveiled 28 pounds of human body fat, a fragment of a human foot, human gallstones, and a portion of a denture, which was later identified by Olive Duran Deacon's dentist during the trial. During questioning, Haigh posed a peculiar inquiry to Detective Inspector Albert Webb, asking, "Tell me frankly, what are the chances of anybody being released from Broadmoor?" The inspector refrained from discussing such matters, prompting Haigh to utter, "Well, if I told you the truth, you would not believe me. It sounds too fantastic to believe." Haigh then made a shocking confession, admitting to the murders of Duran Deacon, the McSwans, and the Hendersons, along with claims of 3 additional victims, a young man named Max, a girl from Eastbourne, and a woman from Hammersmith. However, these additional claims could not be substantiated. Hay's trial unfolded at Lewes Assizes, and the evidence from this pivotal trial is now housed in the Crime Museum at New Scotland Yard. During the trial, Haigh entered a plea of insanity, asserting that he had consumed the blood of his victims. He claimed that the blood had haunted his dreams since childhood, resurfacing vividly after a car accident in March 1944. He recounted his dream, saying, "I saw before me a forest of crucifixes, which gradually turned into trees. At first there appeared to be dew or rain dripping from the branches, but as I approached, I realized it was blood. The whole forest began to writhe, and the trees, dark and erect, began to ooze blood. A man went from each tree catching the blood. When the cup was full, he approached me. 'Drink,' he said, but I was unable to move." Leading the prosecution was Attorney General Sir Hartley Shawcross, KC, later known as Lord Shawcross. He urged the jury to reject Hay's insanity defense, arguing that Haigh had acted with deliberate intent. Sir David Maxwell Fyfe, KC, the defense counsel, called upon numerous witnesses to attest to Hay's mental state, including Henry Yellowlees, who characterized Haigh as having a paranoid constitution. Yellowlees added, "The absolute callous, cheerful, bland, and almost friendly indifference of the accused to the crimes which he freely admitted having committed is unique in my experience. It appears that Haigh held the mistaken belief that if the bodies of his victims could not be located, a murder conviction would be unattainable. However, the jury swiftly dispelled this notion, taking only minutes to declare him guilty." Mr. Justice Humphreys then pronounced the death sentence. On the 10th of August, 1949, Haigh faced execution by hanging at the hands of Albert Pierpoint. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing by clicking the red subscribe button below. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support means the world to us. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.